Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Righteous and Rich podcast. Today we have the don of the Muslim podcast space, Mr. Faisal Choudhry. How you doing?
Assalamu alaikum, bro. Good, thank you. How are you?
Bro, it's surreal to be sitting across you, man, because we're like 8-9 years running on our podcast, and it was 100% inspired on the back of Freshly Grounded.
Jazakallah khair. That's very humbling and probably only 10% true. I'm sure.
Not as in 100% true.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
In fact, I'll give you a bit of a backstory. I don't know if you know Ustad Yasser, my brother-in-law.
Yes, yeah.
So he was telling me about this thing called podcasts.
I came to his wedding.
You came to his wedding?
Yes.
Yeah, you came to his wedding. So like 2012, 2013, he was like, there's a thing called podcast, do it. And I just ignored it. And then when you started doing it with Sam, I was like, wait, this is proper. Your first episode was with Umar.
That's right. So I started in 2015, but it was called The Next Phase.
The Next Phase.
Yeah. And it was still the same idea of Freshly Grounded, because The Next Phase was a play on words as well as Freshly Grounded is, because it was like my name, Faisal, was often shortened a nickname to Phase. Phase obviously being like a phase of your life, and the next phase being like the phase from Jahiliyyah to practicing. So that was why it was called The Next Phase. And then Freshly Grounded has the exact same meaning, because you're freshly grounded, right? Like you're freshly into like the practicing life.
So it didn't. Okay, I thought it was about coffee. Freshly grounded beans.
So that's why it's got dual meaning, because we like coffee. And back then, like the easy thing to do was like, well, what is a podcast like? It's like having a coffee with your boys. It's like every podcast had like a coffee related chai bye like, right? It's like makes the most sense connection wise. So yeah, it had like 2 or 3 meanings.
You started off as a vlogger though, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Allah Barik.
Yeah. I actually started vlogging when I was like 13, 14. I used to vlog the school bus journey, because we used to get a bus to school, and I would vlog every day, and then I would upload those vlogs onto Facebook video, and then all of the people who were on the bus that day would watch the vlogs, and it was just like a lot of fun. And then I actually started vlogging when I was like 19, 20.
So I want to dissect a few things for myself selfishly, Allah Barik, throughout your journey, and just to give people like a prelude into what to expect, because hopefully this will be different to the other podcasts and discussions that you've done. So anyone who's in the podcast space, I want to kind of go a bit deep into like, how do you like source like great guests, sponsorship deals, that type of stuff. We're going to talk about you then kind of stepping away from Freshly Grounded, joining Taal, which is it like the most successful Islamic app in the world, or one of the most different?
I don't know like officially, but like it's right now, like it's competing in the charts with like ChatGPT and things like that, and on like
so
global
it's
charts.
one of the most successful apps in the world, period, then, right, on the App Store. And Allah Barik, with Allah's permission, tawfiq, you were the literally the high that they had that took it from 1,000 downloads to 1 million downloads.
So yeah, they had like, I think like something like 4 million downloads,
but 1,000 a day, right?
They were getting like they were getting like essentially like I was the first non-technical hire, so
they hired you for marketing.
They hired me for marketing, head of marketing.
You're being overly humble. But anyway, then I'm
still working on getting my confidence out there, that stuff, yeah.
And then you come back to Freshly Grounded with like a bit of a vengeance. Mashallah, tabarakallah. You've done a round of fundraising.
That's right.
And some amazing stuff is going to be on the horizon. So those are like the 3 segments that I want to kind of break this down into, inshallah. And in between, we're just going to dive a bit into like maybe like some of the internal struggles that someone goes through on social media and this, that, especially being in the Muslim space, a bit toxic.
Yes.
And all the kind of trials and tribulations that come along with that.
Yep.
So the first question I have for you, bro, is that one of the things that stood out to me is how you were always able to outsource like high profile guests, right? So Sonny B. Williams, for example, you were just explaining earlier, he was like the David Beckham of the rugby space in New Zealand. You got him, brother Mu'in Ali, and you just kept getting like the Muslim like A-listers, for lack of a better term. How did you do that? How did you get that?
So, but the honest answer is that this is going to be a theme throughout our entire discussion, and it's gonna the label of this theme is authenticity, right? I'm the biggest believer that anybody and everybody can sniff out inauthenticity if somebody's not being authentic. And when somebody is being authentic, you just get like this gut feeling about someone. In fact, it's some of the people who are like in the highest, I suppose, like echelons of the branding world, so not necessarily marketing but branding, they will describe branding as a gut feeling somebody gets about your your brand.
Interesting.
Right? And I think that you can even put that into people. Like, you just get a gut feeling. I don't know if it's like your fitra or whatever, but I feel like you know, and you can sense when someone is just being themselves. Even if you don't know them, you've never met them before, you could feel like when someone's being a little bit like, is that what they really like? Or not? And so I know that there's that cheesy quote that's like, be yourself, everybody else is taken, right? But I've like always like resonated with that. I'm like, I can't, I see so many people that I'm inspired by, but I can't be them, right? But I can be myself. And so actually the guests have come because I've thought, well, if I just try and be authentic and try to be myself and build relationships, and that's what I love doing authentically. I love meeting people and building relationships and having a laugh and all of these kind of things. And so that was my aim with people. And then eventually you build a good enough connection where, you know, they're open to doing a podcast with you or something. So it wasn't like I had a really amazing PR team or managers or like anything like that, or like I had the connections, you know, because of nepotism. I just like to build relationships, and I hope that people got to see in me that I was being authentic and therefore were like open to like chilling with me and stuff. And then through one connection I made another connection, like with yourself. Like, I didn't know so many of the ustads that I know now that I'm really close with before I knew you, and then through you met them and now have great relationships with them. It's Sheikh Muhammad Tim Humble, who's like our most regular guest on Freshly Grounded, right? It's like I went through you, or in some way, shape, or form. Like, I connected with, when I first time I had a podcast with him, I said to him, that was, for me, that was like the A-list of the A-list, right? Like, because of how much I used to consume his.
It was in Dubai, right? You and Sam came down here.
And I said to him, why did you say yes? And he was like, oh, well, like, you know, any, like, he said something along the lines of, any friend of Imran's is a friend of mine, and kind of thing. So we got that through you, right? So network, relationships, authenticity. I think I love building relationships. So there's guests that are like super high profile that we had on FG that people must probably think that we got them overnight, but it's like 3 years of like relationship, and then eventually them saying to me, let's do an episode.
So how do you access the relationship in the first place? Like Martin Ali, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you even get in front of him to build a relationship with someone like him? That's what I was thinking at the time. Yeah. Look, I know you thought it was a scam, or maybe you thought it was too good to be true, but on this podcast I've been telling you about an opportunity that you can use to learn to make money. There are people that are making 10K a month, Allahumma barik, within 90 days. They're making their first dollar online and they're becoming financially independent, Allahumma barik. This is brother Abu Lahya's IMA, Influencer Marketing Accelerator. It shows you how to make money online, halal, through influencer marketing deals. I got off the phone to him and he's just told me that one of the guys from this channel is about to become their first millionaire, million dollars cash. He's just passed the $800,000 mark, and he came in the summertime. I just done a live the other day with his inner circle members. These are guys that are on the IMA program that have done their 10K a month. Allahumma barik. They are annually making 10K. Some of them, the next goal is 50K a month. Some of them is more. Some of them is a bit less. And I'm like, this is the real deal. Brothers, I've got so much to lose, like to gas you for no reason. The reason I share this with you is because I don't have anything to offer those that want to learn how to make money online. I genuinely don't. I have a network of high net worth and ultra high net worth Muslims, but people are always asking me. And the only place that I just really trust that I can say to you, go here and hopefully you can learn how to make some money online, inshallah ta'ala, is Abu Lahya's IMA Accelerator. So just so you know, it requires hard work, 4 hours of work every single day, 90 days. It's not cheap. It is expensive. And they reject most applications. But if you get there, inshallah ta'ala, you can get that financial independence, do your hijrah. You don't have to work. Bob's looking over you because you're taking a bit longer than you should have taken on your salah break. Come on, like that's not really the kind of situation you want to be in. So apply at the link below. And don't let another year pass, and now you're hearing about the 4th millionaire, 5th millionaire, or, you know, so on and so forth. Apply at the link below.
So like what I just said, like I met you and then I met him. So that one was an example of, I was hosting a tour at the time, and he's like rolling through just to give salams because some of the people knew him. I gave him salam, took a picture with him, and Abu Bakr Spot.
Yeah.
He was Moeen knew Abu Bakr because of Spot, and I was, you was with Spot, and so we got talking, and then I must have said to him like, I did actually on the first time I met him. This is rare, but I cheekily was like, "This is such a big deal." So I was like, "I'd love to have you on the podcast." And he was like, "Yeah, like we'll do it." And I hung on to it. I was like, he gave me his word. And then I just like, I like DM'd him like straight away after. And I was like, hey, like, you said, he's like, yeah, cool, like, let's do it. So I was in communication. So that Moeen Ali is probably the, I don't know what you call it, like red herring in the sense that I actually did chase that episode down, as opposed to most of the episodes, I actually try and build a relationship first. And so he basically has this thing where I said to him, why did you end up doing an episode with me? And he goes, because I gave you my word. And he goes, if I said that I would do something, then it will always be on my mind that I said that I'm doing something and I haven't done it. So
it's very admirable. Many people don't like that.
Yeah. And then then like maybe like a year or two passed after that and nothing happened. And then one day, bro, he messaged me on Instagram and he goes, I'm in, he was with the England cricket team and he was like, I'm staying in this hotel in central London and I have a free slot. I have an hour or two or whatever in like an hour. And bro, I was like, I'm there. And I drove down. At the time, our studio was in where Grenfell, near Grenfell, like Kensal Rise.
Yes.
So I just drove down the A40. It took me like 40 minutes, got to the studio, packed all my equipment, dashed in the car and then drove to that hotel in central London and got the episode. So
I have a question for you. This, hopefully you can help me find a solution for myself. Something I struggle with personally, right?
Yeah.
Is coming across like a beg.
Yeah.
So I don't ask.
Yes.
And to my detriment sometimes. And I'll give you an example, right? So recently we were supposed to do a show with a very high profile guest. Yeah. And this is someone who we've done the nurturing of the relationship behind the scenes. And we've even like financially, like he's a very wealthy person, Alan Badik, but put him in touch with someone who he's doing a deal with and getting like a 10% equity kind of share. And then there's prospects to do more, like through our network for this guy, right? So this is not someone I feel ashamed in asking something for because we've led with value. So he cancelled,
okay.
Like 2 hours before. I'm really tired. I'm so sorry. I'm rescheduled. Me, I was like, I'm not going to invite the guy again. Is that bad? In my mind, I'm like, wait, did he not cut? Is it, he just didn't want to do it? But he can't tell me directly.
No, I think you're doing the right thing, bro. This probably other people would give you different advice, but I think I do the same as you. Like I said, Moeen Ali was a odd like 1 hour in the sense that I actually like kind of chased that episode. The Sunny Bill one, his PR team approached us when he was launching his book. Even like some of the probably like some of the biggest guests we've had, I didn't want to ask to the point where I was like, I just really wanted this guest, but I wouldn't say anything. And then like eventually they said themselves like, oh, well, let's do a Freshly Grounded. And I actually don't like asking people because, the other way around. I don't like asking people, but then I also don't like people like chasing me down for an episode either. But I don't know, it just happens naturally, bro. But I don't think what you're doing is wrong because also you don't want to get to a point where if, for example, he did not want to do it and then you're like not getting the hint. So it's probably better what you're doing, but I don't know. I don't have the answer.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities I miss out on.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to ask. And
I think I'm similar to you, bro.
Yeah. And I cringe at the thought of, bro, I'm not here to beg you. As in, I don't need any. Okay, I'll tell you where I think it comes from.
Yeah.
Because I know people come to me and I'm thinking, why is this guy? Please leave me alone. Like, So because I experienced that and I know how much I hate it. I despise being that to someone else.
Well, that's exactly it, 100%. I think you put your nail. You've put a nail on its head. That's right, actually, because I think that I equally have had those experiences. So I think you're right. I think you're just very empathetic. Like you can imagine, it could be because of this. Like, let me leave that.
And now that I'm just reflecting, like some of our best podcasts and whatnot, they do come from the back of relationships. Like Sheikh Uthman Farouk, we just had him recently, and I know he had a thing with a particular Christian guy who has been spreading some shubuhat recently.
Okay.
And I was like, why don't you just come on a podcast? We'll do a live stream. And you can like kind of clarify because he kind of really clarified that stuff in the past. I could feel confident enough to get him because I've spent time with him in the UK. And then he was like, oh, I'm in Kuwait. I was like, you might as well just come down here. And everyone was like, how did you get Sheikh Uthman? I'm like, that's my guy. Like, as in,
yeah, exactly.
It's not, I didn't get him. We were chilling.
Yeah.
But you're right. It comes on the back of relationships. Okay.
Relationships are the most important thing for me, hands down. They're the most important. Like, I wouldn't sacrifice my relationships with people for an episode of a podcast, for a piece of footage, for a picture. Like, relationships are so important to me. They're so important to me. So I value them a lot, man. Like, and so that's why I think, like, everybody that I've had on Freshly Grounded, probably bar a few people, I could message now and I would get a response straight away because they're my friends before they're anything else, or like I have a good relationship with them. I think that's really important. I really, really, really value my relationships.
MashaAllah, I do see that, man. I feel like whenever people come on your show, they always end up having a very good relationship with you. It's like the Faisal effect. It's like when they come, it's like if a great, I actually, now this happens quite often. Whenever a great guest comes, it just becomes your friend, and then they keep reappearing in your ecosystem.
Alhamdulillah. I don't know. Like, it's not. I don't have like this master plan, but I just, like I said, I try and be myself, bro. Like, I have so many flaws. I'm aware of my flaws, but I also just don't have the ability to be anything other than who I am. And I also know that I have advantages or pros, and I try and just lean on them.
Barakallah, man, we spoke, and this is before we both moved here, right? I remember a couple of times we've had a conversation about trying to navigate inside the Islamic space.
Yeah,
obviously we're Muslims.
Yeah,
Freshly Grounded is not like a da'wah podcast, but of course it's you bring du'at on, you bring Muslim athletes on, and businessmen and entrepreneurs. It's diverse, right? It's pushing the whole Islamic lifestyle type of thing. But whenever you touch Islam, and you want to, because that's your deen, why wouldn't you, you kind of expose yourself to drama. And I remember there was a time when it was like you were maybe going through some, and it was never, I don't think, public, but maybe behind the scenes, why are you bringing this person, why are you bringing that person? How did you navigate that? And do you feel like that changed the trajectory of Freshly Grounded? Because I'm currently going through that right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've been through way more than I have.
But I'm going through it in a different sense, and I'll give you some context, right? So, for example, me, my background has been like very strict. I'd only work with people that were like very clearly, upon the path of the Salaf.
Yeah.
Right? That was my thing. And to the point where even if someone is still upon that path, but not maybe saying it in those words, I wouldn't. Now I've broadened it in the sense where, bro, you're a person who's not upon misguidance, you're upon the Sunnah of the Prophet, you follow the Salaf. I have no problem to having a discussion with you. So I've done a couple of podcasts with Hamza Zoutsis and Sheikh Uthman Farouk. For some strange reason, people seem to think that they're misguided.
Okay.
And completely not. So now I'm getting these messages like, this guy sold his manhaj, this, that, so on and so forth. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like, I know exactly what these brothers are on. We have, they're good, straightforward people. Like, there's nothing wrong with them, alhamdulillah. But, I've obviously, you develop the thick skin over the years. How was it for you at the beginning? Because that was at the beginning of your career.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah. Fine. So you saying that has reminded me of some of the things. So first of all, I do not have thick skin. I have a complete polar opposite. I have the thinnest skin ever, right? Okay. And so over time, I think with age, that's grown, because I started creating content like in the space, I suppose, when I was like 19, 20, because I was still quite young. And I've always struggled a bit with criticism and stuff. I remember I was trying to figure out for myself as well, though, because I remember I had somebody on the podcast once, and then you called me and you were like, oh, we were already on the phone. And this was like 10
Was
years.
I one of those guys? I completely forgot this.
Because
oh,
you weren't, you were like, you helped this. I had this question, right? So we were already on the phone or something, I don't know. But and I think you were like, I wouldn't do like the podcast with this guy or something, right? And it was no one, by the way, like, if people start thinking, it wasn't anyone that like you would think of. Yeah, no. It's no one like obvious or anything like that. In fact, it's probably somebody who's actually fairly unknown. And I said to you, but I don't, because I was so young and I was still trying to learn. I didn't understand. I was like, bear in mind, bro, I started creating content when I was like 1920, like in this space, but I started learning how to read Arabic when I was 22.
Okay.
Like alif ba ta. So like I was like zero at knowledge as well. And so everything I'd ask would be like common sense questions in my head. So you were like, I wouldn't do that. And I was like, well, I don't understand, because if I had, let's say someone who's like completely, let's say for example, if who's like a really big celebrity that's like non-Muslim, I guess, like athlete or something, like David Beckham, yeah? Let's say David Beckham was Muslim, yeah? And I basically said to you, if assuming this is such a bad example now, let's everyone listening, pretend David Beckham is Muslim just for the sake of this discussion, yeah? So then I said to you back on the phone, I was like, I don't understand, Imran, because you're telling me not to have this guy, but if I had David Beckham on the podcast, that would be a big podcast for us because he's really famous and he's Muslim. Yeah. But I'm sure you wouldn't tell me not to have him on, even though like he does like madness on like and stuff as well. And you basically were giving me advice and trying to help me basically maneuver that conversation. And you were basically explaining that there's a difference between somebody, if you're talking to them about a very specific topic and you're speaking to them about their thing and they're like, there's no clear issues with perhaps like what they're preaching, versus someone who's actually like trying to give da'wah to something that is against what we believe. I don't know if I've done a good job of explaining that.
Yeah, you did a very good job. Yeah, of course.
So that helped me understand, okay, like where the lines are. Like, okay, so if it's like Aqidah, for example, like you have to tread very carefully. But then if it's someone who they specialize in a specific topic and you're just speaking to them about that topic, try to stick to that topic and things like that, I guess that would help. But I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I'm more interested in how you managed the internal battle.
Okay, fine.
So I get your point, and to be honest, you articulated it very nicely. It's like if someone is gonna spread misguidance in terms of aqeedah, then you're not gonna have him on. But if someone's got a particular expertise, he's an entrepreneur, but maybe behind closed doors he does some stuff that's questionable, but you're talking about entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that, right? But you mentioned you don't have thick skin.
Yes,
a lot of people can relate. A lot of people don't do what you're doing. I think that's very commendable, Alam. But despite having that something that is a struggle,
yes,
you're still one of the Muslim faces. You're the Muslim face when it comes to podcasting, Alam Badik. So how do you overcome that internal battle?
Question now. Okay, so first of all, yes, why do I do it despite sometimes getting anxious about things like this? The reason, the answer to that is I just believe this is like the most authentic version of myself. I love performing. I have a performing arts background before I was like, found religion seriously and stuff like that. I have videos of me when I was 4 or 5 years old, singing and dancing for my whole family, and like entertaining them. And so I just feel like at my core, I love creating. I feel like I'm a very creative person. And so I do it because I feel like it's what I've been given, and people have been given different things, and it's what I've been given to try and use to serve, right? That's the reason I do it. So like that feeling is more is higher than the like anxiety or whatever. So I feel like it's my calling. But I've, like you very kindly said, had some really great accolades in the digital marketing space now. Like I've ticked some great boxes where I could probably go into a lot of tech companies now and demand quite a high up digital marketing job, but I don't think that's my calling, which is insane when you think about the achievements. But I believe that like what I'm great at, I'm naturally been given my unfair advantages at. So that's the reason for that. How do I deal with it? Let me answer that question directly now. One of the ways I deal with it is when there was a time when this was really bad, and I was really struggling a lot with a lot of the comments and stuff like this. I spoke with my teacher at the time. He was my Quran teacher, and I was telling him about it, and he said to me, Faisal, Allah has not even stopped for himself people spreading lies about him and like saying bad things about him, to the extent that they say that he has a son. So they said that so this teacher said to me, if Allah didn't even stop it for himself, why would he stop it for you? And then I was like, subhanAllah, like that makes sense. Like this, the point being that this is always going to happen. Like this is part of life. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was like ridiculed and criticized and XYZ. So that a mindset shift helped for me to be like, I don't deserve to be like completely free of, you know, criticism or whatever. That's one thing that helped. And the second thing that helps me a lot is I have a really good circle around me of like select people that I really, really benefit from. One of them is like my best friend Onali. Like he doesn't care at all about the pod, the people, the fame, nothing. He's just like been there through thick and thin with me. We've lived together. You know, I was by his side when, you know, his father passed away. May Allah have mercy on him. And him likewise, when my grandfather passed away, he was the first person that we were living in the same house at the time. I was like, so we've been through so much together, and I thought I could be completely open and tell him that I'm struggling with something and he'd be there. My wife, my older brother, my whole family, like my siblings. So the people around me, I can like kind of like go into their shell, my parents. So that helps as well. But definitely I think the primary thing was that mindset shift of Allah hasn't even stopped people from doing that. I mean, Allah is capable of all things. If he wanted to, he could stop, you know, he can make people become mute every time they try and open their mouth and say something bad about him. So, you know, this is part and parcel of life.
Part of this is a bit invasive, but it intrigues me that one of the people that you find comfort to go to is your wife.
Yeah.
And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was like that, in the sense where when he saw Jibreel and he became frightened, he came running to Khadija, right? And he was like, I'm scared for my life. But that's something that most men can't really experience nowadays, and maybe don't even think to go to their wives. I just wonder, like, what creates an environment that facilitates a man to be able to go to his wife and find comfort?
I think the key thing is that my wife and I are complete opposites, and that really helps because I get to see a perspective that I don't understand, or like a side to a situation that I don't really get. So I am very extroverted, she's very introverted. I am very sociable. She doesn't need like a lot of friends and stuff like that. And all of these kind of things, because we're so opposite, I think that helps. If I was married to somebody who like was like gassed up, freshly gone, who'd all like, oh, like Ziggy, it's like it would be hard to then find comfort in them, because it's like they have like the same mindset as me, I guess. So I think that helps. And but it's different, but not everything I go to my wife for, right? Like it depends on what the issue is, because often that person is my brother. And I feel like he understands me on a level that most people will never understand me, because he gets both sides, like the responsibilities and stuff like that you have. And then, so yeah, so I think, I don't know, does that answer the question?
No,
I suppose
does,
like our opposite personalities.
It does. You mentioned this is your calling, in the desire to fulfill your calling,
yeah,
and to be you, is greater than the pain that comes with the negativity and whatnot, and so on and so forth. What would your life look like if you succumbed to that negativity and the pressures of anxiety based on what people are saying, and didn't actually do Freshly Grounded? Like what would the quality of life be?
Well, it would be. I think it'd be horrible, bro. I think it'd be horrible. I wouldn't have even had my job at Taal, because why did I get the job at Taal initially? Because they saw the work that I had put in with like other brands and Freshly Grounded and stuff like that. So I'd probably be like a policeman, bro, because I studied criminology, right? And then I would hate that job. I would, you know, so either that or like working in an office and then always dreaming about what could have been. That would have been me. I would always be dreaming about what could have been. And I don't do that, by the way. Like, I don't wake up any day, alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah, and dream about what could have been. I'm like, even no matter how much of a struggle it is, if it's good times or bad times, I don't think, oh man, what if I was like doing something else? And that is a ni'mah. That is such a blessing. I don't think about that often enough, but that in itself is such a blessing.
What would your what words would you offer to someone right now who finds himself in that situation where there's something that they believe, you know, is their unfair advantage or their blessing, their gift that Allah has given them, and you know, just maybe due to social pressures, family pressures, whatever, they just have compressed that, and they just on the hamster wheel, just living the rat race, but not fulfilling their calling. What would you say to them?
I would say to them that if you look at the precedent of your life, has Allah ever let you down yet? And 100% of the time, you would realize that Allah has never let you down. He's never let you not have what you need. And if that's the case, then why would He start now? It doesn't make sense. And so if that's the case, you could have full reassurance knowing that you can, things will get figured out. Mm-hmm. My favorite quote of all time is my own quote. And it's that everything is figureoutable. And I got that quote because I spoke to my dad when I was leaving Taal.
Okay.
And I'm in a really good, well-paid job for a US tech company that's like founded out of Silicon Valley. Like you can imagine, bro. Like, and I called my dad, one of the first people called before I had left, and I said, I think I'm going to leave. And he was like, okay, why? And then I said, well, I just feel like I've come to the end of like what I want to do there. I don't know if I'm like serving them anymore how I should be serving them. I feel like I want to kind of move back to freshly grounded and all of these things. I think any parent at that point would have said, you're being ridiculous. You got 3 kids, you're in another country, you got a stable job, you got stable income at a really promising company, and you're one of the like founding employees, as in, or not founding employees, but as in you're like, you know, employee number 4, I think I was, something like that. That's what probably every other parent would have said. And my dad said to me, he said, son, nothing in life is worth stress and stressing over. And he goes, make the decision that you want to make and everything can be figured out. And I translated that, as I've told that story more and more, I've somehow ended up translating it as everything is figureoutable. And so I ended up saying, like, I tell people all the time, like, everything's figureoutable. And and when he said that to me, that he probably was saying it as a passing thing, but for me that meant so much because like he was basically reassuring me that everything can always be figured out. You can always figure things out, but there's no point like getting so stressed to the point where you can't sleep and you're putting on weight and you're going grey over like because you just don't want to be in a certain situation. Mm-hmm. Everything can be figured out. Mm-hmm. And the other day, just like I had a full circle moment because we launched this software at Freshly Grounded, and it was such a successful launch, bro. It just went completely viral. When was this? And this was literally like last week. And within a few hours, it was going nuts, and we had to take it down like the same day because we realized that we were potentially breaking a terms of service issue, and it was a big deal. And obviously we've got investors, and on top of that, like we don't want to do anything that breaks in service. And of course, Allah tells us like you have to follow the laws of the land, right? Like as much as we, it was a contractual terms of service. If you're using this like software, or then you're gonna then you have to like abide by the terms of service. So anyway, we took it down. I got home that day, and all the team. My team is so blessed, bro. Like we've been working on this for months, and as soon as I told the team, like their reactions were like, cool, bismillah, like Allah's not going to let us down because we put all this work in. There'll be another avenue. Like, cool, take it down. I got home and I was like visibly like I wasn't upset with the decision, but I was like looking at thin air like we just did such a successful launch, and we this is our first software and all this kind of stuff. And my brother-in-law had come around to the house and he knew what happened, and I was just sitting on the sofa and I was like looking in thin air. I didn't even realize that I was like zoned out, and he comes up to me and he goes, Faisal, a wise man once told me everything is figureoutable.
Oh wow.
And I was like, he just full circle. I was like, do you know what, you're right? Like, and he just like switched things. So to that person, I would say, you figure it out, wasting your life and being unhappy until you're 70 and then you die, like, is not the solution. It's not, bro. Like, it's not.
Barakallah feek, man. It's actually very, very inspirational, man. If you're like any decent Muslim out there, I know you wish you understood the Arabic language so that you could connect with the Quran. Do you know how long it took me to learn the Arabic language? It took me like 7-8 years. And you know why I'm kind of upset about that? It's because I've recently come across Ijada Institute, which has students speaking Arabic in 6 months. In 6 months. So I was mind blown. So I decided to connect with the founder and the teacher, Sheikh Abdurrahman, and asked him, how did you do it? And he built a system, Allahumma barik, that focuses specifically on teaching those that are non-Arab speakers living in the 21st century, i.e. our context, how to study Arabic. Most of the programs that you're going to see out there in the books were not even designed for Westerners or non-Arab speakers. And if they were designed back in the 90s and the early 2000s. This is a program that's mind-blowing. I actually listening to one of the calls that they have with the students. They log on and they talk to each other and they talk about their day. And I was like, wow, these brothers and sisters, of course, there's no free mixing. They are talking in fluent Arabic in 6 months. Now, of course, you have to put the hard work and you have to do the work, but you can just focus, just doing a small amount every single week. And within 6 to 12 months, inshallah ta'ala, you're going to be proficient. And then there's going to be that moment where you're going to be in salah, you're going to be reciting Quran, and it's going to come and you're not expecting, I promise, where you're going to relate to an ayah and it's going to touch your heart in a way, it's going to bring tears to your eyes. And that's going to be the beginning of your relationship with the speech of Allah. So if you want an Arabic Studies Institute that, inshallah ta'ala, works as far as I'm concerned, and within 6 to 12 months you want to be speaking Arabic and then, inshallah, understanding the speech of Allah, then apply to join Ijada Institute at the link below, inshallah ta'ala. There was a point a few years ago where I felt like there was so much pressure. You know, like I said, I have thick skin, alhamdulillah. And I also don't really care what people think about me, right? But there's layers to that.
Okay.
So there's layers to not care when people think about you. At some level, no, you do care.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Because I've always seen you as someone with thick skin, which I find quite inspirational. And you've had it.
Yeah.
You've had it.
I've got thick skin, but then there's some blades that are very sharp.
Yeah.
They can penetrate even this thick skin. And I really don't care what people think about me, but then it just takes a lot of self-reflection to be like, no, you actually do. Maybe I don't care what those guys think about me, but this one person here maybe.
Okay.
Or these two guys, I actually care what they think about me. So I got myself in a position where I was like, I became a very dark person. I became a very negative person. I'm a very positive person, alhamdulillah. But I remember one time I was actually it was 2018 and I was in Dubai. I think it was like December. And I was, Sami Panda?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Yeah, so I was with Sami Panda. I think we just went to get some food or something like that. And I was just watching some of my videos, my most recent videos that were uploaded. And I was like, bro, I look so angry. This is not me. Because it's like when you're in this space, you have to fit into a certain mode. And then I remember that was the point where I broke out of it. And then we did a podcast. We called it Stormtroopers or something like that. And my whole thing was like, for example, people feel like if you're practicing and you're in like the Islamic space, for example, you got to look a certain way, you got to talk a certain way. And the standard is, like there's like the standard look, right? Like you got a shimar, super pointy, you talk a certain way. And I'm like, bro, that's just not me. That's the Saudi way. Like, no disrespect to the Saudi way, but that's their culture. I'm not a Saudi. You guys are importing Saudi culture, okay. And you're popularizing it on the minbar and it's spreading. And it's like I've tried so hard to not talk slang. I really do. Okay. I understand it's not good. Okay, I get it. It's not the best way to speak, and but what do I do, bro? I spent 20 years in that crowd.
Yeah, that's how you were raised, right?
And then I spent another 10 years giving da'wah to those guys.
Yeah.
So sorry, man. People don't speak like King Charles around me. It's just what it is. Now, when I shift, it's just I'm not being authentic, and my interactions.
As in, that's what people say about you.
I'm not. When I shift, I'm saying. I'm saying when I've tried to shift from talking slang to talking like properly.
Yeah.
Remember, language is how you express yourself, isn't it?
Exactly.
So now that I'm trying to express myself in a way that's not natural to me, I'm also now behaving unnaturally.
Yeah.
So I found that it's just not me. So like all of these different things, and I had to get to a point where I was like, this is not haram. It's not even makruh. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's allowed, and I'm going to do it. And I just feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more happy in that space. And there's still levels at which you do care, and you have to conquer those levels. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think it's very depressing, man. It's to have critics in your boardroom.
Yeah.
This way, I don't know if you know Sheikh Mohammed al-Sharif. May Allah have mercy on him. He used to have this thing called Discover You. He was like the first Muslim personal development guy.
Okay.
He was a graduate from the Islamic University of Medina. He was my first mentor. Remember, he said to me it's like 15 years ago, he was like, don't put your haters in your boardroom.
Yeah.
Don't make decisions based on what they say. So it's so hard to overcome, and it's easy to say, but it's hard to overcome. On that note, I have a question for you, right? So
can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
You said that you are a very positive person naturally.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met you, it's probably like a decade ago, and we went out for food. And at the end of the day, I said to you something. I don't know if you remember this, but I said, I wish that everybody would get to meet you in person because you're a lot like different in person.
Yeah.
As I said to you. Because you were so positive and like you're so friendly, and you'd remember, and bro, all the boys from the last time you came to the podcast, all the boys, I don't know what perception they had of you before. I'm not saying that they thought negatively of you before, but they were singing your praises, bro.
Oh,
they were like Suleiman, he was like, Imran like knew my name, didn't forget my name, and like was like, oh, he's like, everybody was like, the way you come with this positive energy, you remember everybody's names, you do all these different things. That stuff at least 10 years ago wasn't coming across in your content. And so that's why I had said to you at that point, I was like, whoa, like I wish other people got to meet you in person, because before that day I was just a consumer of your content, and some of it would benefit me, a lot of it would benefit me, and then some of it I'd be like, oh, like he's maybe angry, right? And then like you smile so much all the time. It's very like when you see him in person, it's like you never see really like him angry and stuff. So I remember saying that to you. So I can be a testament to the fact that you are a very positive person in person.
Love it, man. Do you know where I got the remembering people's names thing from?
Dale Carnegie's book.
Actually, no.
Oh,
I got it from your Fresh Uganda event.
Oh, really?
When you were mentioning, was it 10 lessons?
Yeah.
And you were like everyone. The most favorable sound to someone is the sound of their name.
Yeah. That's from Dale Carnegie's book, How to...
So I read the book after.
Okay, fine.
But I got it from you.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah.
Dale
Carnegie has some great books, man. Like, by the way, you know, you spoke about books on the podcast that when I interviewed you, and it's really funny because when I think about the books, my favorite like business books, or like psychology books and stuff, you were telling me about the books that you read, and I hadn't heard of them, and they were like really specific, and it's really funny because if you look at the books that are my favorite books, they're all like the most like bait books, like everyone's like how to influence people, like the kind of like books that you'd meme someone who's into self-development would like. But my favorite books were like How to Influence People, one of my favorite books. There's another one called Never Split the Difference, which is by Chris Voss, like about how to negotiate people. So all these books are like really obvious, but I love like a lot of them, so I'm getting.
But they're great books.
They're great books.
They're great books. Allah barik. Mashallah tabarakallah. So I have a question, man. Do you feel, and my perception could be wrong here,
Yeah.
over the years, your content has become, what's the best way to describe it?
Just say it how you want to say
less
it.
spicy?
Less spicy?
Like, as in, so
like less triggering?
No, that's not a good way to describe it. Like, when I look at Freshly Grounded before Tartil, there was a lot more colour.
Okay.
Since it's like lacking color.
Okay.
And recently I've seen it's picking up color.
Okay, fine, yeah.
But I wonder, like, what was that? Or is that just maybe my perception?
I think one thing we struggle with at Freshly Grounded that we're always trying to fine tune is the fact that we have a very unique audience.
Yeah.
Our audience is like, I suppose there's like mainstream Muslims on one end of the spectrum. Then that's like anyone who lives in the West that's like has a Muslim name, basically. They could be doing anything and everything. And then on the other end, maybe there's like people who are studying knowledge, right? And our audience is like super mainstream, but like they care about their religion.
Yeah.
Which is quite a wide net.
Yes, yes.
And so I think for that reason, maybe like we're conscious of making sure that our content is understood by everyone. And we also feel like we have a very specific use case as Freshly Grounded. Like from a da'wah perspective, or from a, if you see practicing Islam as a funnel, we feel like we know where our position is in that funnel. But sometimes that position in the funnel can, depending on who the person consuming it at the time, can look like a boring position or something like that. I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But does that help answer your question at all?
So what I'm trying to get at is that your ability to like create a brand is phenomenal. Allah barik. Grab attention. I remember the first event that you did, or it might not be the first, it might have been the second one, but you know, like there was like the mafia kind of set up and the money and the phone call, and I was like, wow, like, and you know, then you came up with the card game, and it's just, I remember when we were building our studio in the UK, I shouted with you, I was like, Faisal, give me some advice. You told me you can get these type of lights and so on and so forth. So I want to see Freshly Grounded become what I know it has a potential to become.
I appreciate that.
Because of how skilled you are in marketing and branding. And I just, maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, but it's just like, before it seemed like it was just growing.
Yeah.
Naturally there was a dip because you took a step back when you joined Taal. But then it's like, what's the, it's like I haven't seen that continuation of like that growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you think that is? It could just be my perception.
No. You're not the first person to say that. So I think that's useful. And I would say, like, you know, part of it, maybe this sounds like an excuse, is when you have anything when there's longevity, you're going to have periods of drought.
Yeah.
I think we had experienced that previously. And that was like a test of, are we going to be able to like push through this? I feel like we managed to push through that.
Okay.
That was like a level of like extreme drought. And then I think now where we are really excited is we've got like a new lease of life and energy, but also because of the team and these new hosts and stuff like that. And so I think where you will start to see what you're saying is through that we have a show called the 2 for 2 show, and it's Suleiman, who is like this 25-year-old just married like young boy from West London, and then you got Johan, who's like 36, I want to say, or 38, Jamaican revert, same area as Suleiman, and like their chemistry is just insanely like infectious, bro. So funny. It's like big brother teaching little brother. Johan's got like 6 kids. Suleiman's got like none at the moment. May Allah bless him with pious, healthy children. And so seeing that dynamic, it's like that was like when we started that, we were like, that was the energy that Freshly Grounded had been missing for so long, that like youthfulness, that vibrance.
MashaAllah.
That was one thing that we've now added, and the other thing is the live stream. So we noticed that actually there's no one really doing live streams in our space, and live streams is, we think, like the next big thing. And so now we started doing live streams, we started being able to get that back as well. The problem with 2 for 2 is we had it behind a paywall. The reason we had it behind a paywall is because we were trying to promote kind of our premium subscriptions, because at the end of the day we're a for-profit business, right? We have to like make it make sense. But recently what we realized is that we've got all of this value, and the actual show itself should not be behind a paywall. And so just this week, actually, we've like released it now publicly. And so I think people will start to see that now.
Allah barik. Do you think also, like, there's an element of maybe guests and topics as well? Because like the flagship show is yours.
Yeah.
Right? Allah barik.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for that?
Yeah, so we did have a period where we were like doing less guests and more like just like in-house podcasts and stuff. And we have always noticed that the views always go up with guests.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, like we are always trying to get like bigger and better guests. And I have guests in mind that I want to have. So yeah, I think guests can be a part of it.
Is that like a primary play, or is it maybe like we're not even trying to optimize for the best guests and it's something else?
Okay, there's an answer to that question. And the answer to that question is, if you're building a business relying upon external factors like guests, whether they can make it, whether you can get in touch with people and stuff like that, that's not very like secure, stable, good plan. And so what we had decided as well, and this is like kind of like where 2 for 2 show comes in, but also people like myself, Kaya, some of the other guys that are on screen, is can we build characters
in-house
so that we don't have to rely on guests for like for us to have a product, basically. So there's that element, but like what we have found is that people at the end of the day do always like the guest stuff.
The reason why I'm asking, and I'll open up to you a little bit, inshallah, my Abu Bakr won't mind, because we talk about these things openly on Child Mobiles anyway. But I feel like we're kind of in a very similar place, right? So I saw very early on the benefit of having like those characters. And for years, like Child Mobile, people loved it, even though we were so inconsistent, because it was me, it was Abu Bakr, Abbas, Guled, you know, and my brother.
Yeah.
And people just kind of fell in love with the characters and everyone's different personalities and the different perspectives that they bring to the table and so on and so forth. But what happened was that obviously we couldn't keep everyone consistent. Guled went off to study in Egypt. Abbas had to buckle down on what he was doing, and then eventually just me and Abu Bakr were left. And we found that we've been in a constant cycle of like trying to find the like those characters. So interestingly, subhanAllah, when we came to Dubai, we relaunched the podcast, right? We relaunched the podcast, and after it had been off for like a year or two, and it was me, Abu Bakr, Saad, and Abbas, and it was performing better than it ever had before. Like that year was our biggest year of growth on YouTube ever. We're talking a year and a half ago. But 2.5 years ago, and a year and a half ago, I stopped it. The reason I stopped it is because I was like, I don't really feel like I understand what Child Mobile is about. I don't get it. And we've always had this thing where it's like, what is Child Mobile about? Because sometimes we'll talk about like something that's like a super religious da'wah topic. It could be a refutation podcast. Next, we're talking about business. Next, we're talking about, you know, like relationships, and the relationship episodes always do great.
Yeah, even for us.
And I'm kind of sick of it. Like, as in, for me, it's like, I don't want to make content just because I know it's going to get views.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sick of it. Like, as in, I can talk about relationships and be very passionate and give my take. That's usually interesting when it's done sparingly. But you put me on back-to-back relationship episodes, like I can't do that. That's me personally, right? Abu Bakr's always been like, look, Child Mobile is us. That's what it is. And I don't agree with that personally. My thing is, there's got to be like a core vision, mission, specific, like, as in, you know, who we catering. Anyways, cut a long story short, I always agreed that having these core characters is great, even if we don't necessarily have like a clear-cut direction. Maybe we can form it once we get the characters. This summer, we got characters.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have consistency of like people.
So, we got myself, Abu Bakr, Sam, we added Sam.
Yeah.
Fawaz, I don't know if you know Fawaz.
Yeah, Fawaz Central.
And Zarir. I'm not sure if you've seen Zarir. So this is...
Is Zarir the brother with long hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him recently.
So this is the spiciest crowd. Like, in these episodes, I was like, wow, okay, we finally did it. Like, Zarir is just... it's just... People can watch the episodes to know what I'm talking about.
You know, I met him on like a building site.
Really?
Recently. I was like... And we both looked at each other like, do I recognize you? I was like, I just come out of a paddle game. And he was like, so we shook each other's hand, and we kind of realized how we knew each other through you being a mutual. And he was just like building a shop or something, like along there.
A surfing,
like a scuba diving,
a free diving shop. Yeah. So my point is that was perfect, right? But then again, Fawaz went off to Morocco. He just traveling the world. Zarir doubling down. He's got a startup. He's got his diving shop, and so on and so forth. Again, we're left with me, Sam, and Abu Bakr. And I don't know, man. I feel like the way to compensate that issue of people coming and going is having a set theme, but we don't have that. So what it's resulted in right now is I've kind of turned my back on Child Mobile.
No, you can't do that, bro.
So I turn up for the episodes, but I'm like, Abu Bakr, you handle it.
Okay,
it's your thing. Fine. And I just started a new podcast called The Cave.
Okay.
And I know what it's about, right? I'm talking to... It's basically...
It's a panel show.
It's a panel show, okay. Right? And it's for high net worth Muslims and ultra high net worth Muslims. Same audience that are, you know, kind of people that would join our network. But the kind of conversations that those guys want to have, I can't have them on Child Mobile. Okay. Right? Like, for example, like high level business stuff, Islamic economics, leadership, even geopolitics to some extent. And, you know, it's all framed in the deen, and we start off every episode with like an Islamic reminder. We connect it to business and so on and so forth. But then we just kind of get into these things, and I'm really enjoying it. And the proof is in the pudding. Like, it's been a month and it's growing along back. We're just shy of 3,000 subscribers. The videos are doing really well. But now I don't really know how to feel about Child My Buy. So I thought maybe you could relate and give me some advice or something like that.
So I think like the reason I said to you don't turn your back on it is because when we've had nothing else at Freshly Grounded, we've had consistency. And a lot of people sometimes have said to me like, oh, like Freshly Grounded is back now. And I'm like, in 10 years, we've never not released an episode every week, like other than like a handful of times. But people have this perception, right? Because of like, you know, when I was at Taal and stuff, and then we wasn't as
you were still releasing,
popular.
yeah,
we still released episodes, right? Bro. Like, so you have to have consistency, because even when you don't have it figured out, at least just show up. And obviously, we know that a lot of the deeds are consistent, even if they are small. And so sometimes, bro, doing Freshly Grounded was just about turning up. And so I would say Child My Buy, but I think Child My Buy is a great concept. It's a great show. People know it because you hear people talking about Child My Buy. And it seems quite clear that you have the cave for a very specific type of audience, and then you have these kind of one-on-one style things. And Child with My Buy, even from the name, it feels like, it sounds like a bunch of brothers sitting around talking about like what's happening right now in the world to some extent, right? Like whether it doesn't have to be like about a specific news cycle, but it can be about a theme that's going on. And so I don't think you have to put too many labels on it, bro. There's this book called The Creative Act, and in the book, one of the concepts is create what you want like to create, not what you think will work, right?
Interesting.
And the idea behind that is like, you know, people are chasing trends. They're trying to like pinpoint like what's going to work and what the next trend is going to be. But that's not how art works. Art works in a way where it's like, this is like something that there's this thing that you're passionate about, that you want to talk about that, because the chances are if you're passionate about it, you perform it really well and stuff like that as well. So
thing is, I lost my passion for it. That's the thing. It's like, as in The Cave, I'm there because I get it. Even these like the Righteous and Rich series, it's like how you have a bunch of shows, right? This is like my other show. And even this, I was doing it like every week. I was having episodes with people, and I realized I'm not enjoying these conversations. So I stopped. Like, Qadar Allah, I have a massive backlog, alhamdulillah. But I now refuse to have a conversation with someone that I don't want to actually have a conversation with.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, is that bad? Should I just carry on even if I don't have like...
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, because I do think you should want to do it. So I don't know the answer. But I also do think that Child My Buy is a good brand. So it's a little bit tough.
Yeah, I wanna fix it, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think you get, because you're excited about Cave maybe, then like Child My Buy, like maybe you're less excited about it, but I think the audience seem to like it. And there seems
But it's not growing. That's my thing. As in, it's for a year, we've been consistent, and it's not been growing. It's been stagnant. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
As in, like, I get it, but it's just...
Yeah, I mean, that's the other side. Like, if you want to play devil's advocate, for lack of a better term, you also have to look at, like, you've only got limited resources and energy.
Yeah.
And you have to put it in the right places. And you have to know when to... There's a psychological concept called the sunk loss fallacy.
Yeah, sunk loss fallacy, yeah.
And it's like, just because you put hours in, you feel like you don't want to give up on it. But it's like, sometimes it's better to just stop it. So yeah, I'm sure like that's...
The thing is, though, I've always admired the fact that Freshly Grounded alarm back is consistent.
That's all we have, bro. Like, sometimes I'm the opposite of sunk loss fallacy. Like, I am in that. Like, it could be, but I believe in it too much. I believe in the impact too much. I believe in that the audience is unique. I believe in our mission, which is to make conservative Islam acceptable and cool and accessible and understandable. And so that's important to me, bro. And the mission behind it is so important that I'm willing to die on that hill.
Bro, I have no doubt that inshallah you achieve it, man. Allah barik. I remember it was when you announced like Freshly Grounded is back in the summer. Allah barik. And I like to believe we're well wishers of Freshly Grounded and whatnot and so on and so forth. But of course we're like competitors in some way at the same time, right? Because we're both competing for eyeballs, and you know, people's on people's digital real estate. So there was a moment of like, oh, should we just give up? Like, because I know Allah barik, when you get it cracking, that you get a crack. So I've got no doubt in my mind that you're going to work it out, inshallah ta'ala. And like you said, man, these different, it's all about the experiments, the different shows, the optimization, keeping your ear to the ground. But the reason I'm kind of going through this is because a lot of people now are starting to set up podcasts.
Yeah.
And this studio that we're at, like we hire it out, they've got like hundreds of clients.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a single podcast that's anywhere near close to Chow Mabai that's coming out of this place.
Yeah.
And Chow Mabai's not big.
Yeah.
But it's just, people are just so bad at podcasting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just show people like what it's like behind the scenes to run a media company for a decade.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I don't know if like I'm doing a good job of answering your questions, but there's fires we're fighting every day, and sometimes it might be about the operations, sometimes it might be about finances, sometimes it might be about the creative, and you've got to just try and kind of piece it all together, you know? So yeah.
It's like just to give people hope, if they've been in the trenches for a while. You know, Andrew Tate was on social media for a decade plus before he blew up.
Really?
Yeah, decade plus.
Wow.
Since like 2011. I saw Stephen Bartlett talk about it, who's got arguably the biggest podcast in the world right now. I mean, technically second after Joe Rogan, but I think it's the volume it gets on like a daily basis is probably bigger than his right now.
Yeah.
And he mentioned again, he's been on social media since 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So all these success stories are not overnight.
Yeah, bro. And like you have to be open to pivoting, and you know, you just got to keep showing up. You know, it's about constantly showing up, and you again, in the creative act, there's this other concept, which is that basically art doesn't get created, it like exists, right? And so I don't mean this in like a shirky way, right? But what I mean by that is like inspiration is all around us. And like, so your next business move, your next podcast is kind of like, you just got to be yourself in a position where you have your where you're in a phase where you're ready to receive it. So if you're like distracted by things, even if that is like you're like distracted by life stresses and you're not in a calm state, you might miss it. But if you're relaxed, then all of a sudden you know you got the idea for Righteous and Rich, and that was successful. Maybe when you got the idea for Righteous and Rich, if you weren't in a state where you were open to receiving inspiration, you might not have done it. So yeah, I'm a big believer in the fact that you have to constantly try. Like Omar, my older brother, is like a huge example of that for me. Like, he's a real inspiration. He's like, he was late to the AI game. And I used to be like, say to him like, oh bro, like you should like, you know, really implement AI in what you're doing and stuff like that. And now it's like, he gets basically given like blank checks from the biggest tech companies in the world saying like, what position do you want in our company taking? He's like, I'm not interested. So that's what happens when you are open to kind of pivoting and changing and you just show up every day.
Barakallahu. So on that note, let's go to Taal. Yeah. So you were their fourth employee, and
something like that. I don't want to get it wrong, but like, I think before me there were the three founders at the time that I joined, and then there was maybe three developers. So if you take the founders away and you look at the employees, there was three. I believe there was three developers that I can think of. So I would have been employee number 4. So, but I was the first non-technical hire.
So within a month they get 1 million downloads. Yeah.
No, that's not true, because I think they, if I can remember correctly, I think they might have been at something like 4 million downloads when I joined. So I don't think that's true. But what it was basically when I joined, alhamdulillah, the growth basically skyrocketed within a month.
Allah barik.
But I'm conscious of saying that because I also do, you know, this is ultimately Allah's will. I don't know like how much of it I was to play in that, but I believe I obviously, as the head of marketing and the first marketing hire, had a role to play in that.
Allah barik. So my question is, what did you immediately implement that could be the means for that growth that Allah facilitated?
Okay, so there's different type of marketers, as you would know, and I think people mainly in our world that we know, people when they think about marketing, they think about performance marketing,
Facebook, Meta,
exactly, and I'm like, I do performance marketing because I have to, not because I enjoy it or I want to. And when
you run ads for Fresh Irani?
Sorry?
You run ads?
No. We do run ads sometimes. Yeah. But as in, we're not consistently all year round running ads. But like when you're head of marketing with a big tech company, you have to do all types of marketing, right? Especially when you're like at one point when I first joined, it was a one-man marketing team. So I had to do performance marketing as well.
So you learned how to do paid advertising?
I had learned how to pay advertising prior to Choudry.
Okay.
And I learned initially from Isa.
Isa Khan?
Yes, Isa Khan.
Qur'ani?
Yes. And then I took some courses. I did a Google Scholar course. No, not Google Scholar. What is it? They used to do like free course on Google. You get certification.
Google's one, yeah.
Yes, I did Google's performance marketing courses. And I did some online training for marketing, for performance marketing, stuff like that. So I had enough under my belt where I was like, I had enough under my belt where I was like comfortable. That very comfortable. And by the way, I had also like ran ads for. The reason I learned from Isa and I like had like a sessions with him was for our own products at Fresh Irani. So we had running ads for him. So I knew how to do it, but I hate it. I just don't enjoy it. What I love is the other side of marketing, which is creative marketing. It's basically saying like, what does the consumer? What's going to make the consumer click? You know, what is their frame of mind? How are they thinking? How are they behaving? How will they interact with this brand? And so the first thing I did when I joined Taal is I said, "Whoa, this is a technical app that's like being explained in horrible technical jargon. Let's strip all of that away and make it really clear and simple for the layman to understand." You got to bear in mind, the three founders are technical people. You know, one of them was at, there was 4 founders initially with Taal. One of them was working at Twitter's HQ. One of them was at Amazon's HQ. And one of them was at Facebook's HQ.
Okay.
They were all developed. 2 of them were like AI developers, if I remember quickly, and then one of them was I'm oversimplifying their role. Yeah. They'll be like an AI developer, but like machine learning specialist and stuff like that. And the other one was a developer, like mobile developer. And the other guy was like heavy in the blockchain world. So again, they're all technical. Then their 3 employees were all developers. So I entered this company, bro, and they're like, even how they speak, bro, was like so developy. And I was like, all right, guys, this cannot happen. Like they're doing product launches, bro, like saying developy words to like public facing. I was like, we can't do this.
Like what?
Oh, but now I can't remember what it's like. What kind of stuff do developers say? Like how they talk. Like they might be like saying. I don't know, like words like workflow and like they'll try and create a tweet, right? That was, and by the way, I love the guys at Choudry. I still have a great relationship with them, so I'm not like mocking them, but like, and I've told them this, but like they were like, let's say for example they did like a public facing tweet that's like something like what you're trying to get out of the user is you know, how do you guys like. What's your favorite thing about using Choudry? Like, or where do you get the best benefit from Choudry? The way they would word it is like, we're intrigued to find out through our users what use case is like the one that makes you like. I said you can't use the word use case and workflow and this kind of stuff because people don't. That's not how we speak as consumers. As consumers, it's like, hey, what do you love about the app? And so what I did is I took like the core features of Taal, or the ones that were like the most, like the ones that stick in your head the most. Obviously, the main one being that as you recite, it fills in the words. And I literally wrote it like that. I said, this is the app that fills in the verses as you recite it. They'd never really used that kind of terminology and that kind of language. And so I spent my first kind of like quarter there really just undoing all of the tech jargon and just like oversimplifying like the narrative and messaging, the copy. And then I did that with video because content is where I'm like the most I have the most experience and I think like the most skilled. And so then we just like really went in on like organic content marketing. And the first video that we put out got 1.5 million views, which was like unheard of for us at Taal at the time. And then we just started getting more, and then we figured out what was working, and then we just like to this day, bro, like Taal will put out organic videos that will get like 1.5, 2, 3, 4 million views, bro, and is based on this idea of like simplifying, undoing the tech jargon and how can you translate it to the consumer. I think what we don't do enough is think about how does the consumer see this, and sometimes we get stuck in the thing, and do you know what, bro, unfortunately tech companies know this, right? Because they know it from a theory perspective. When you're dealing with technical people and developers and stuff like that, they get theory, bro. But you need someone who's a creative, who is like not in the theory, to like be able to also translate things. So for how a tech company would fix this, they know that you have to think along the consumer journey. How they approach that is they'll do consumer interviews. How official, bro? How unnormal is that? Like, as a consumer, I'm a consumer of so many things. I've never had an interview with the product that I'm consuming to tell them like about how I like what my workflow is. If I'm doing that, I'm going to be slightly technical because I'm like even like willing to do that. So I don't think that's like always the best way to figure out how the consumer behaves. The best way to do it is to like put yourself in the mind frame of a consumer, actually use it as a consumer. And so I'll tell you how we do it with a podcast, right? So I can't remember what your experience was like coming to Freshly Grounded, but I'm always trying to fine tune it. And I don't think it was probably the best, but I think it was better than it had been previously, and now it's even better than that. And what I mean by that is I only realized, even when I talk about consumers, even like our guests on the podcast, what is their journey like when they know that they come into an episode of Freshly Grounded? And like, is it like, okay, here's the address, turn up at this time? Or is it like much nicer than that? And so what we do now is we will send them the address, but we also send them what the parking is like there. We also offer them to to pick them up. Like we can order have a car come to collect you if you'd like. To just let us know. Most of the time, that no, so I'm going to make my own way. This is the parking. It's 2 hours free. Someone will be downstairs to collect you. That's another thing. And I learned all of that by being a consumer on podcasts. I started being a guest on podcasts, and somebody would like, it would be a really confusing like building, bro. And because for them, they're so stuck in it, they turn up to this building every day. So for them, it's like they know where to park and how to get there and what roads are difficult. So they don't even think about the fact that for me, it's my first ever time. And so I would like, I would turn up somewhere, bro. I'm like messaging the guy, like, hey, like, where's there to park? Like, oh, like, there's like a spot there. Okay, cool. Then I speak to the park and like, oh, and he's like, yes, 40 dirhams for like 2 hours. Oh, okay, like, that's fine. So I'm like figuring that out. Oh, that's manual. Oh, I need cash. Then I'm like, hey, I'm asking the guy, which building is this building? Get to the thing. I'm like, which floor is it? I was like, oh my gosh, this experience is horrible. So then that's when I was like, how can we change that experience for our guests at Freshly Grounded? But I wouldn't know that if I wasn't a consumer. So I think with marketing, a big part of it is you have to put yourselves in the shoes of the consumer, not just give consumer interviews, but actually like say like, how can I experience it? There's a famous story about Steve Jobs when he was opening up the Apple store in Regent Street, which is actually the Apple store that I was working at. And shameless plug, I was the numerous time top selling specialist there, as in like I sold
really?
Machines, yeah.
So a good salesman as well.
Yeah, but I think again it's authenticity. I'm not loud. I'm like, I would tell people like sometimes like what not to buy, right? Like, oh, you don't want to get that. But then I guess they would trust me. Anyway, famous story, Steve Jobs. He's opening Regent Street Apple Store. He's going up the stairs. There's the night before launch. He's going up the stairs and he's got his hand on the rail. And he felt it and he was like, this is like a horrible user experience, because it was like so like rough, like that experience of like hand gliding up the road, and he wanted the customer's hand to glide up the rail as they go up the stairs, like how when you open the iPhone box it like glides off. He wanted that same feeling as you're going up the rail, and so he had it changed. And he wouldn't know that unless he could have just been like, oh yeah, the guy's in London opening another store. Like he turned up at the store and he like he walked through as a consumer, and then he changed those things. The glass, have you noticed that the glass outside of an Apple store is different to every other store? Like, you know, it's an Apple store because of the glass, bro. It's a weird thing because all stores have glass.
That's true, yeah.
They, again, found very specific glass. And it was a German company who gets this glass, and they end up buying out that company, and that company only creates glass for Apple. For their stores, bro. For the front of their stores.
Wow.
That is being obsessed with your customer. Customer obsession, you can never get wrong, by the way. One of Jeff Bezos' leading principles is a customer, basically being obsessed with the customer. He says, famously, you will never... he says, I like to focus on sureties. I will never hear a customer say, I love Amazon, but... the deliveries come too fast, and so I will obsess over faster delivery because I know that's a surety that they love. You'll never hear a customer say, I do like Amazon, but the customer service is too good. So I obsess over customer service, and so they're the kind of things that I think matters. Like you really, bro. I just launched a mentorship and we could talk about it shortly, but we basically launched this product, right? And it's helping experts use YouTube to sell more of their info product. the team at Freshly Grounded were like, this should be an MRR product, monthly recurring revenue. It makes all financial sense for this to be a monthly recurring revenue. In fact, it's a 12-month mentorship, which is perfectly like aligned for me to say we could charge monthly. We could make more money, but then also we can have consistency, stability, all that kind of stuff. And I ended up pushing this as a one-off payment. No recurring revenue, it's not a recurring product. It's a one-off payment. You make your payment at the beginning. It's actually fairly well priced. And then that's it. We deliver you the service. Why? I sat there as a consumer and I really thought about it. As a consumer, I don't mind paying $1,000 knowing that I'm paying this $1,000, I'm getting this mentorship, or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever, and I know what I'm getting, and then the money side for me as a consumer is done. Now I just want the value. But as a consumer, do I want to like sign myself up to consistently every month and making sure the money's there and like giving the money and like questioning it? No, I just want to pay it and let me get the value. And so, by the way, sometimes MRR models are great. You know, Omar's model is MRR. But for me, for the product we have, I wanted to get the money conversation out of the way so we can continue to deliver the value. And I thought that that's what the consumer would want better. So I put aside what would be better for us as a business so that I could serve the consumer better. I just gave you a massive monologue, but I'm so sorry.
No, barakallah feek, man. I really appreciate
it. But that your question was, what did you do at the beginning at Taal? And it was like, I started to become obsessed with the consumer and the customer.
MashaAllah. So let's take the conversation to this new thing that you've launched.
Okay,
right?
fine.
So it's a mentorship.
Yes.
For people that have an expertise in a particular niche.
Yes.
But they want to scale.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't want to be remunerated for their time.
Correct.
Because that means you only make money when you put the time in.
Yes.
The way to scale that is online mentorships, coaching, consultancy, info products, so on and so forth. Why have you chosen YouTube as the desired platform, basically, to kind of help people do their marketing and build their brand on?
That's a good question. Okay, so I have to preface it first by explaining that, first of all, look, I just can't, and I've tried, but I just can't ignore the fact that everybody knows that there's huge upside in going digital when it comes to making money, right? Like, then the layman knows this. And the upside, especially as a Muslim, are so large that everyone's going to want to do it, and everyone's doing it, and more people are going to do it. And so it's like, okay, this is happening. Yeah, it's no longer a case of like, is it good or is it not? Like, it's such an obvious upside that it's like, okay, how do we work with this? So then the dichotomy I had was, I know the content world and I know the digital space, and I'm really confident that I can help people who have an expertise in something, have a skill in something, to turn their offering digital and to get customers and sales. The dichotomy I had was, I don't want to help people necessarily become influencers or just like become famous, because I know that Islamically speaking, we should not seek fame or even seek influence, I guess. And I know that because when I like started like my journey, like, gosh, like 12 years ago now, like looking at Islam properly, one of the first khutbahs I ever sat in, it was in a mosque in Cardiff, and the sheikh gave a khutbah about how a good Muslim man is someone who doesn't want to be known, but because of his character and his knowledge and his like good deeds and stuff, he is known in the community. Yeah. So he didn't want it, but he like is. That's like the perfect Muslim man. And so that's never like, I've always remembered that. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I know that everyone's going into a digital. Everyone can actually have that upside of running their own time and, you know, spending more time with the kids and seeking knowledge, all that kind of stuff. That upside does exist, but then the dichotomy was like, how do I like tell Muslims that they should do this? I don't want to mute this mic by accident. How do I do that? And that's when it came to me that the only real time that there's a way to basically do digital and to make sales in a way where you don't have to try and seek fame. And that, I believe, is through YouTube. The reason is because, bro, if you're going to try and get your numbers up on short form, you kind of have to compete with what's happening on short form. So that means you have to chase the trends, whatever those trends are. Like right now, it's really important that you use music in the background of your even your picture posts on Instagram for you to actually get traction, for you to be on the Reels page. Now, there's ways around it that the Muslims Barakallahu Fika found, which is like using maybe their voice as their audio, or maybe like some humming that's like very clearly not music and things like this. However, the fact is that you have to put background audio there, right? And so that's an example where maybe we've been able to find a solution, but there's not always going to be. Then there's like trend chasing and maybe jokes that are immoral, or having to do things that maybe sometimes are not like aligned with you, from maybe not from a halal haram perspective, from an izzah perspective. Maybe for my personality, me like throwing myself on the floor because that's a trend right now is like not that bad. But maybe for like somebody who is like a really well respected like pilot or a doctor who is an introvert and like doesn't have that personality, now like his family and his community are watching like, why are you throwing yourself on the floor, bro? Like, they have to do their izzah, right? Like for a real, but that's the trend. Or God forbid having to like do dances and stuff, like, you know, TikTok is big on dancing and stuff. That's one element. So I was like, that is short form. And I'm not saying that's the only way to win on short form, but as in like, it's competitive, bro, and it's like always changing. And then I realized, bro, that the way I've been able to build my brand, the way that you've been able to build your brand, has always been through primarily YouTube.
100%.
And what the other thing I noticed is that when I truly want something of value, I don't go to Instagram, I go to YouTube.
You go to YouTube.
When I want to know how to change my tire on my car, or how to tie a tie, or how to change a certain battery, or fix a certain thing, I don't search it on Instagram or TikTok. 100%. I search it on YouTube and I find things. And that's when I realized that, hold on, my own experience has been like this, but also how I as a consumer search has been on YouTube. And then you realize that I've actually been able to make sales on my, you know, I've spent, you know, the last decade, I've done ebooks on how to do a newsletter business. I've done podcast course in 2022 and stuff like that. And all of these things have been like leveraged via YouTube, right? And I realized that I don't have the same amount of views as most people, yet the views that I had were like so strong in terms of, because people are searching for that thing, that they were able to go into sales. So on YouTube, you could basically sell more with less views. So that was like the first part of the answer, which is like why I kind of came to that decision. I felt like it fixed my Islamic dichotomy, which was I don't want people to chase fame, but I also do want people to be able to leverage digital space in order to make money through a personal brand, and personal brand is basically do it. People buy into people, they don't buy into brands. Why YouTube? It's three main reasons. Number one, we already spoke about searchability. If I want to learn how to do something, I'm searching it for it on YouTube. That means, let's take the example of a chiropractor. If you're a chiropractor and currently you sell, the way you make your money is you have to book people to come into your clinic and you fix their posture. If you as a chiropractor start making videos on YouTube, even if they're boring videos, bro, and that's really important to know. If I'm searching how to fix my posture and your video comes up, even if that video has only got 500 views, that's 500 people who literally searched how to fix their posture. They don't come up through by accident, like on short form where you're scrolling.
In that.
There's intent in that, yes.
Yeah.
And so it's what we would call a warm lead, right? And so that person is much more likely to buy. So searchability is number one. Number two is the fact that videos compound. So you can make a video 5 years ago and it still gets you sales today on YouTube, and that's true and it happens all the time. However, if I made a video 5 years ago on Instagram, a reel, I guarantee you that, forget somebody actually clicking through to anything, nobody's even viewing that reel anymore. If had I, and I didn't, but had I 10 years ago when it was popular, I did a video where I threw a bucket of ice over my head, I guarantee you that today no one's watching that video.
100%.
And so that's a problem. So, but on YouTube it compounds. You every time you upload videos, those videos continue to make you sales and stuff like that, and they carry on. And I've actually seen that even with Taal, we saw that, by the way. A big part of our push with Taal ended up being YouTube. So compatibility.
I just want to validate what you're saying, right? So, for example, if I go onto my buy channel analytics, look at the videos that are performing best over the last 28 days. A video that I released it's not telling me the date that I released it. It was like 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
Is performing at number 3.
Long back.
And a video that I released 9 months ago is at number 6. Right. And a video I did 10-11 months ago was at number 9. So, point being, and there's one that's unexpected that's just spiked. Not embedding. But yeah, and that was also a while ago. So, look at that. Like, literally, just,
And so, like, on Instagram, bro, like, if you get a viral reel, it might be viral for a day, maybe a week, and at best a month, bro.
Yep.
And those views also don't equal sales. So,
100%.
YouTube is the platform that you want to go down to if you are not chasing views, but you're chasing sales.
Yeah.
And they don't mean the same thing. So that's the second part, was that the videos compact. And then the third and final one is trust. So, people buy from people that they trust, and people trust people that they spend a lot of time with. And I don't spend a lot of time with you if I'm watching you on short form. I get to spend 30 seconds with you and I flick off. But on YouTube, when I'm watching a 30-minute video, 40-minute video, 15-minute video, and then I like it and I watch the next video, by the time I've consumed your content on YouTube, I've spent potentially hours with you. And when I spend that much time with you, I trust you, and then I will buy from you. And so they're the reasons why I believe YouTube is the way forward.
That's a very powerful point, because people get excited over a reel that was 30 seconds that got 2 million views, but you were just 30 seconds of a man's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Just 30 seconds. That's a vanity metric.
Yeah.
It looks nice to you, but actually it was no impact. But whereas you could have got 200 views on a video that was 30 minutes long and people watched it all the way to the end, bro, you just took 30 minutes of a man's life. These guys are in two different leagues.
They're different leagues, bro. Completely.
Different leagues.
I have a video right now that's currently going nuts on socials. Yeah, it's a short form video. And it's me trying petrol flavored ice cream. And
is it nice?
It actually was not too bad.
Because I like the smell of petrol.
Oh, really?
Apparently, you shouldn't sniff it. I don't sniff it.
No, you shouldn't.
Is it a drug or something? I don't do it.
No, you should. Yeah, you definitely just. I think it's just like good practice to not sniff.
I have
petrol,
to. Whenever I'm in a gas station, I just have to.
So this video has currently got 620,000 views. It's got 53,000 shares.
Can I watch it?
You can't. Just me trying petrol flavored ice cream.
This is not as bad as the biryani ice cream.
I had the biryani. I tried biryani ice cream as well. Yeah. So I have this series. I try ice creams, but that's because my Instagram.
What is this brand?
That's on Noon. So I use my Instagram for like anything and everything, right? Like I just use it as, if it was private and it was only my family friends following me, I'd put the same content up.
Okay.
So I just like to use Instagram. But my point is, bro, it's got 620,000 views, 53,000 shares, and I've made £0 off that video because it's just me trying ice cream, bro. Whereas when you make a video with intent, I've had videos get 9,000 views, and made me over £1,000, right? And so that's because the video was made with intent, and the people who are following it wanted the thing and things like this. 9,000 versus 620,000, bro. Think about how many 9,000s it takes to get 620,000, and one's made 0, one's made like £1,000 just by like posting it once. So that's my third thing. So that basically brings us to what it is, the product that I'm offering.
Just to back that point that you mentioned. So I remember, Sam, obviously he's building out. People if they're not familiar with me, he's one of the members on our panel. He's a real estate guy. Alarm Berdick manages like assets under management and stuff like that. So he was wanting to build out his own personal brand, right? So this is a guy who's made millions. He makes 6 figures USD every month passively through his investments, right? But that was all through his just network, his personal grafting in his local city in America. Now he wanted to go online. This is like a polished white collar guy, but he realized YouTube is the way, basically, right? And I remember he was trying to make content, different types of content, and just work out which is the way to go. So there's this concept of like vlogs, right? Which is like, let's just like do crazy stuff and hopefully people would engage and it will get views and then, we'll get leads. And his thing is like $100,000 in the sense where if you want to invest in his project, you got to come with 100K minimum. So this is like high ticket, right? And the total addressable market for something like this is not big, it's small. So you'd think, how are you going to get in touch with them, right? So there was one video that he made that think that video got him like $1 million. I'm pretty sure
on YouTube,
right on YouTube. And the video was basically him in a car saying, "Hey guys, so people want to know what's happening in my day. My day is really boring. I just came from a negotiation. I'm going to another meeting. I can't record these guys. They're high profile guys. They're not the kind of guys that want the camera. But I'm looking for land. That's like XYZ. It's an intense discussion. This is my day. I'm just keeping it real with you. I've got nothing spicy to share with you. Do you know what I'm saying? It's invigorating for me, boring for you. But people were like, oh, this guy's the real deal. And he was just dropping facts and figures. Then he made another video, right? Which kind of was like a VSO. Where he was just talking stats, comparing the Dubai market to the, I think, Florida's market. And I think that video got him like $700,000-800,000 in investment. So I'm just giving examples to back up what you're saying. Like, hey, I've seen the proof in that pudding, not just like from me, but from others. And
even if you look at, somebody you were speaking about earlier, Abu Lahya, he's huge on YouTube, right? And he's like, his VSO in itself is like really powerful.
Yeah.
And he, if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't have presence on Instagram. I like checked his Instagram and
it's hardly anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he started doing paid ads in June.
Okay.
So it had been a year he became a millionaire, Allah Barik, just on the back of like 11 YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That was it.
Allah Barik.
11.
Yeah. And he's going in on YouTube right now.
Allah Barik. So 11 YouTube videos that you think about.
Yeah, bro, I think I've done like 1,000 posts on Instagram, bro. So what I'm basically putting out now is it's kind of like two services. So there's a mentorship, which is 12-month mentorship, which helps people with their YouTube strategy. And then there's a second kind of product, or if you want to call it, which is for people who so for example, the mentorship might be, so one of my clients, the mentorship is he's a personal trainer and he already has his product that exists, his digital product exists. So he wants to use YouTube to help sell that digital product, right? But the second product is for people who have a skill and expertise in something. So it could be like it could be the same guy, like a PG thing, but they also don't have their product set up or their content system set up. So their entire basically backend. So what we would do is basically for them, we would build out that backend. So basically allow for something that when somebody watches their YouTube videos, they actually have everything set up. We don't like, for example, film a course for them or anything like that, or like actually create their products. That's what they're best at. But we actually build out the whole system so that everything's automated. Anyone who basically goes through the flow, the payment system, the landing pages, the whatever their lead magnet is, and then like automating the workflow like of that user basically who like signs up for their thing, and then like getting them into whatever. Let's say, for example, it's a private community, automatically getting them in there. So our whole thing is automated as well. So the huge benefit I have is that as soon as somebody pays for my mentorship, the minute they make the payment, that basically triggers so many automations that I don't even have to do anything. They get added to the private group. They get sent the reading that they have to do. They get sent the calendar to book in their first consultation. They get all of these different things that are triggered. They get added to all of these different lists. And
so you do that for them?
First, I'm saying that's what is built for me already, but we do that for them,
So Alam Barak, this is like every educator, every content creator's dream, right? Which is like, hey, I'm good at creating content. I have skill, I have knowledge, I have expert subject. I'm a subject matter expert, but that back end stuff, I don't know it.
Yeah,
someone just deal with it for me.
Them. Yeah,
like this is like in the da'wah, this is like every like sheikh's dream to have someone to just do this for them. Likewise, when it comes to the business side of things, I've seen so many people struggle with this. So you're actually solving a massive problem, man. A lot better.
Yeah. But by the way, it's the same system that we use. So it's not like a system that we don't know. We know it incredibly well. We use it for all of our own stuff, and so it's very easy for us to kind of understand it. And we've made the mistakes. Like, and I'll tell you, there's a huge difference between trying to like piece something together yourself and then like having it done with somebody who has like spent years making mistakes and learning things. And I'll give you one example. I was building something recently and I had come across this issue. It was an automation that I was working on with AI, and I rang Omar, and he's of course my brother, but in like I suppose in a black and white world, he is literally a mentor of mine, right? And I remember ringing him. I said, well, I'm building out this automation and I can't figure out how to basically like filter this specific type of customer who's made this specific type of payment under this specific category. And he goes, he basically in 30 seconds told me the solution. He goes, oh, okay, yeah, just like add this, can you see that? Done. Bro, that took Omar 30 seconds and it would have taken me 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So he saved me 2 days of time just because I had a mentor who had been there, made the mistake. And by the way, he went through that 2 days. So we've been for 10 years of it. He went through the 2 days of figuring out, because it's a very complicated thing. It's like basically like it's almost a simple automation, but then there's one thing that can trip you up in this automation, which is really difficult to figure out. And he made all those mistakes, so I could just ring him and get it done for me. So that's the massive advantage of doing that.
Oh, bro, having a mentor, bro, is automatic. Just there's like I like to read books because I'm just addicted to them, right? In the sense where it's just, but it's not like the most optimal way of learning. Like the most optimal way of learning is to go to the guy.
Yeah.
Go to the person who understands things in a 4D way.
Yeah.
Now, books are like 2D knowledge. I'm not belittling books in any shape form, right? But it's just, if you don't have access, you read books. But going to a mentor, it's like 4D now. It's like 5D. They can see what has been, what should have been, what could have been, and you just get that in-person feedback, man. That's I think this is phenomenal. We'll put the link below, inshallah. And
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah. If anybody's interested.
No, most definitely. I think
they'll basically jump on a call with either myself or one of the guys on my team. We can basically like figure out like what it is that they need, and if we can basically be of use to them.
Solid. Bro, last question, inshallah, before we conclude, is that Freshly Grounded, this company, this business right now, this brand, 10 years from now, what do you want it to be? What if 10 years from now we're looking at what Freshly Grounded is doing? Like, what do we see?
I think you'll see a massive shift for us into software. We have this big audience of which is very specific. Our main audience is 25 to 34-year-old Muslims in the West, and they're people who have either like just started a family, or just got married, or looking to get married, or got young kids. And there's big needs that the Muslims have, and the more technical the world gets, there's more and more of a need for software that solves problems for Muslims. A really simple example that I think somebody created once is somebody created a Chrome extension that allows you to block YouTube thumbnails. That's really important for a Muslim family, because you don't want to see all of the like fahsha that there's on YouTube, right? So that's an example of like something that serves the Muslims. And so what we want to do is create software for this audience that we have that basically helps to serve the Muslims. That's one of the big shifts that you'll see. We're always going to be doing content, because content is who we are and where we are, and more shows that can provide more information, and then also kind of what we're doing with this mentorship and stuff is actually helping Muslims to take advantage of that as well. But we behind the scenes, we're incredibly technical, but we're also creative, and we think we bridge that gap between creativity and technology, and we want to be able to serve Muslims through that.
Can we expect a Freshly Grounded event in Dubai? You've done it in the UK a few times. I think it could be massive here.
I don't know if we have an audience in Dubai, bro. I don't know if we do. So I've not considered that yet. I love the events. The events are a passion project for me, bro. Like, I love the events. So we basically do the events when I'm like need a boost of it. I'm like, oh man, like I'm craving an event, and then it's like, all right, boys, and then everyone's just stressed for 6 months or 3 months. It's like, okay, we're going in, like, and I lock myself away week of the event, and yeah, it's just nuts. But the events are fun.
Allah Barik. May Allah Azza wa Jal, akhi, allow you to exceed your potential in ways that are multifold, and I ask Allah to give you so much khair in this life and the next. I mean,
Jazakallah khair for having me and for your time, but I think this was well overdue. So
no, barakallah feek, man. It was very enjoyable. I learned a lot. It's nice to have someone to talk to that is doing the same thing. You know?
Yeah.
Barakallah feek. May Allah bless you.
I mean, and you, bro. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate it.
Jazakallah khair. Guys, make sure you check out Brother Faisal, Freshly Grounded. I'll link it below. Also, this mentorship for anyone who wants to learn how to build their own personal brand on YouTube, and start trading their knowledge for money as opposed to their time for money. Check it out, the link below. With that said, love you and leave you. See you next week for another episode of the Righteous Rich podcast. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.